Got an update for you guys on trying to purchase the second homestead. It's getting complicated. What's up, guys? This is Nate Petrosky from Narrowway Homestead. I'm going to encourage you guys to hit that subscribe button if you're enjoying my videos, and go to narrowwayhomestead.com if you need any coffee or beard care products. Okay, so an update on this second homestead I'm trying to buy. I already have one homestead completely paid off. Everything's good here, 102 acres, and I'm looking at a small 3-acre property, 3.5 acres, with a house on it. The purchase price that we've agreed to is $20,000, and we were having issues with the title and making sure that I can get title insurance, and it has come back that I cannot get title insurance on this property. And I originally said it's stupid to buy a property that you can't get title insurance on. And you know what? I still stand by that statement. The reason I told you guys about having this homestead and everything's all paid off, this is a second homestead. If you're putting every penny you have on a property and you were going to move there and you can't get title insurance, man, that's a big risk. For me, this is really an investment property, and it's, in terms of properties and how much they cost, this is not that big of a investment. It is riskier with not being able to get title insurance. What I did learn is that the original owner that lost the property because they failed to pay taxes for whatever reason has been properly notified. So that means, and there's a 3-year limit for them to be able to actually go to court and get it back. That is the process they have to go to. They have to go to court. They can't just come up and pay the back taxes and just get it. That's not how it works. It actually has to go to court and be that entire process. So they already are aware that the property was essentially foreclosed on, and they lost it due to not paying taxes. So that's good to know that they're going to have to go through that process. It looks like, from what I can understand about West Virginia state law, which is unfortunately what I'm having to get into, and I'm in contact with one attorney who's familiar with these things, and I'm also in contact with the seller. Like, you're saying this is how it's supposed to go. I need documentation, laws, statutes, case law, anything. I need tangible stuff in my hands that I can read so I can really understand what my risk is here if I want to proceed. So all these people are supposedly working on that. Everybody wants the deal to go through. And if I'm not understanding what I'm reading or accepting the explanations I get from the seller or the attorney that I haven't really hired, I will hire my own real estate attorney and pay them specifically to tell me how this actually goes. But here's my understanding. If the previous people decide to go to court, they're going to have to pay all the back taxes, all the fees, and they're going to have to pay the price that the seller paid at the tax auction, which is the guy I'm buying it from. It's a little bit confusing terms, but there's a person in between me and the person that lost it at the tax sale. So they would actually have to pay all that. Then the guy that bought the property is supposedly writing up an agreement, which I have to see in writing, to cover my purchase price on the property. Now, where it gets complicated and where I hesitate is improvements I make to the property. I must make sure, and from what I understand, from what everybody's telling me, the people lost their property at the tax thing. So if I make improvements and they lost it and have to essentially sue to get it back, what'll end up happening is they have to pay for improvements because they didn't pay the taxes. So all these things I would be allowed to do. And so if I put a $40,000 garage on the property, if I renovate the house completely, they, in theory, are obligated to pay for all of that. So that makes, if that's all accurate, and I can verify that, instead of just going off of what people tell me, because you can never do that. You can never trust that. You got to see this stuff in writing and make sure that there's legal precedent, that what the code says is actually what your understanding of it is. So these are the things I'm currently working through to try to figure out what's going on. I have to understand fully what my risk is before I go to the closing table. most likely I am going to end up closing on this property as long as my purchase price is covered and I can verify that. And it's not that much, relatively speaking, for as far as buying land. It's not that much. And one of the this seller is an LLC. It's a big LLC. They move a lot of properties. I've looked into them. There's always the risk that they go under, and then, you know, somehow I don't get the purchase price refunded from them. But just looking at, I mean, when you're buying that many properties, and they don't just buy cheap properties like this one either, they acquire. So I just don't think the risk of the LLC going under in the next 2 years is that great. And why do I say in the next 2 years? Well, it's because I know the people that lost it in the tax auction essentially ended up being notified properly. They were actually served. There was a bunch of things that actually happened. So that was a year ago. There's a 3-year window that they have to go to court and try to get the property back. After that 3-year period, that time is gone. It is up. Title insurance can be acquired for the property. So that means when I go to sell it, which is very important from an investment standpoint, if I go to sell it, the future buyers will be able to get title insurance, and that'll give them peace of mind knowing that they're good to go. So all that being said, I pretty much understand where I'm at. I just need to verify everything. If it does end up going to court, they try to get the property back, and they have to pay all that plus the property improvements, unless they have some kind of sentimental attachment to the property, which if they did, they'd already be acquiring it back right now, or not have allowed it to go to a tax sale. It's just very unlikely that they are going to spend more than the property is worth to get it back. And that is my main thing. I have to be certain that they are going to have to spend more money than the property is worth in order to pursue it. So whether that means I have to delay improvements or, or if I can make improvements and increase the value and they're going to have to pay that, I'm okay with it. You know, I just don't want to lose my shirt on it. I don't necessarily need to make a ton if that happens. I don't think the likelihood of that happening is high. But if you're buying something without title insurance and there's a possibility of this happening, I mean, the underwriters at the insurance company are basically saying, look, this is too risky for us. So that's something I need to realize. Yeah. So I'm kind of thinking through it. I mostly pretty much have a planned course of action. If this whole thing does fall apart, I mean, in some ways it's kind of like going to a casino. You go there with a certain amount of funds and you lose it. Well, that's what you should have expected. If you're just like putting more stuff on your credit card and stuff, well, that's just not smart. So if you are going to gamble on something, and many investments are gambling, land typically is not a big risk. However, in this case, it's I would say a moderate risk. So you have to look at the possible return. What is the property going to be valued at? How much are you going to make on it? Or am I, you know, obviously I can keep it and rent it out like an Airbnb or something, get a return that way while still keeping the equity. Just a lot of stuff to think about. And if you're looking for property, hopefully you're seeing this process and what I'm going through, and hopefully this kind of makes sense to you. But I'm telling you, like, do your research. And if you're dumping every penny you have into something, a moderate risk on a property may not be something you should do. For me, that is not the case. This is really an investment property, and I want to use it to fund a homestead school eventually, type of thing. So I just have to understand completely what my risks are. I know I'll be in the clear 2 years from now. I can also wait 2 years to buy the property, but that probably won't happen. They'll probably the seller will either sit on it for the 2 years and relist it, possibly for an increased rate, because it will now, you know, be a property that can be insured with the title, or, you know, they may just sell it to somebody else who's willing to take the risk if I'm not. So yeah, that's where we're at with it. I really think I'm going forward unless I run into something that's just a really big hiccup. But just do your research on any investment you make, any property purchases. And I am in a position where I can consider a moderate risk to a property that I'm thinking about acquiring. So that's where we're at. I will give you guys an update in a few days when I know more. I'm just waiting for all the paperwork to actually verify everything I'm saying and have been told is correct. I think most people in this scenario would just, the attorney said this, the attorney said that, you know, and just go for it. You know, if they really wanted the property bad enough. And you just have to verify everything so you understand your risk. And if I lose my shirt after fully understanding the risk, it's on me completely. And if that happens to you, it's on you completely, whether you did your research or not. So do your research. Buy property, do your research, and that's pretty much what you should take away from this video. So thanks for watching, and I will keep you guys updated and catch you in the next video.